So how does a value-priced brand like Sailun match up with an established brand like Firestone out here in the cold, in winter conditions? Well, we'll find out today as my dead cat and I talk tires. So Sailun Tire invited the media to a racetrack north of Montreal, Quebec in Canada in January in the dead of winter to try out their newest winter tire, the Ice Blazer WSTX. Sailun pitted their tire against the Firestone Winterforce 2. Now, the skeptic in me wondered why Sailun wasn't comparing their winter tire with some of the leading names we all think of when we think winter tires, like the Bridgestone Blizzak, the Michelin X Ice, or maybe even the Nokian Hakkapeliitta. So I asked Sailun why they chose Firestone's Winterforce 2 as the comparison tire, and basically they said that they wanted to compare their tire with a competitor that was similarly priced. Now, that makes sense, but is it true? Well, to find out, I decided to look up pricing for tires for my vehicle with one of the bigger tire retailers in my area, and here's what I found. If I were to buy the Sailun Ice Blazer WSTX for my car, it would cost me $203 per tire. In comparison, the Firestone Winterforce 2 would cost me $216 per tire, which is only $13 more per tire. And then we go into like a completely different price category with the winter tires I mentioned earlier. For example, the Nokian Hakkapeliitta R3 would cost me $250 a tire. The Bridgestone Blizzak would cost me $273 a tire, and the Michelin X Ice Snow would cost me $283 per tire. So what Sailun said makes sense, and it's certainly true based on this simple price comparison. Furthermore, Sailun was quick to point out that they weren't doing this head-to-head comparison in order to pick a winner and a loser. Rather, their goal was simple. They said, we build a quality tire that can compete with the major brands, but we can do so for less. And that's what we set out to prove. So, let's see if they're right. Okay, so the idea here is that we're going to test drive two Toyota RAV4s. One has the Firestone tires, one has the Sailun tires, and we're gonna see which one does a little bit better. So let's have a look here, see if it's comparable. So let's go. So we're accelerating here on the track, going up to 30 kilometers an hour. That's what, 20 miles an hour. Going around a small turn. Ooh, it's ice. It is ice. And now we're going around into a slalom. Very nice. Very nice. Ooh, whoa. And the brake box. Okay, braking's pretty good. Considering that this is all ice. That was pretty impressive. Now let's go on to the next car. Right, so now we're in the second car, and we're gonna go on the same track, see how it does, and then we'll compare the two. Going down the straightaway here. Turn. Another turn. Now we're going into 180. Whoa! And these are all-wheel drive vehicles. Wow! Oof. All right, we're going into the brake box again. Let's see how we do here. You know, it's hard to tell the difference. These two tires are pretty well matched. So Sailun set out to prove that they could make a winter tire that's as good as some of the better established brands, and this brief test shows that the two tires are indeed very comparable. Now, this comparison doesn't tell us how well the Ice Blazer WSTX would do going head-to-head with a Blizzak or a Hakkapeliitta or a Michelin X Ice. But as we already established, these other tires are in a different price category, so we wouldn't be comparing apples with apples. And besides, Sailun isn't claiming to be better than those higher priced tires. They're simply saying, we can build as good a tire as the better established brands, and we can save the consumer a bit of money. Now, I had an opportunity to speak with Sailun's national sales manager, David Pula, to find out how this latest version of their winter tire is better than the previous generation of Ice Blazer tires. Here's what he said. Tell us first, what is this tire and what is it replacing?
So the Sailun Ice Blazer WSTX, designed, tested, and engineered in North America for North America. It's replacing the Ice Blazer WST1.
Okay, so we just went through a classroom presentation where David explained all the little intricacies of this tire. Now, tell us a little bit about what makes this tire different from that first version.
So we've modernized all of the technologies that goes into the manufacturing, the mixing forms of the compounds and ingredients. So whether the triple polymers, the silicas, everything that allows the tire to remain pliable at cold and extreme temperatures. That's first and foremost. We've enhanced the contact patch, so we've widened the actual contact surface of the tire itself. So that's going to provide additional traction on ice surfaces. And we've also added additional siping and biting edges. So those will work such as cat claws, essentially. As snow is cleared away from the asphalt by the lateral grooves, the siping and biting edges are going to allow you to gain traction and essentially reduce your braking distances.
Okay, so not everybody speaks tires, so let's break that down a little bit. So the first thing I remember from your presentation is that the tire is more square, right? Is that correct?
Correct. So you're going to have, essentially looking at the actual contact surface of the tire, the shoulders are going to remain a little bit elevated as to the predecessor.
Okay, and what's the benefit of that?
So as tires are rolling on ice, the wider the surface of the tire, the actual enhancement of traction.
Okay, excellent. And then we also talked about siping. So what are sipes and why do winter tires need them?
In layman terms, the squiggly lines that you see within the tread blocks. So those are going to open up. So as the tire rolls down the road, the siping opens up. All of the biting edges within the sipes are going to provide the traction. So those will work like your cat claws down the asphalt.
Excellent. And I think one of the innovations with this tire, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that they're 3D sipes, which we see on higher end tires, don't we?
Correct.
So tell us why it's important that there's what does 3D mean and why is that important?
So essentially the 3D sipe is, instead of parallel siping, which would be your 2D, 3D is going to provide that much more of an enhanced block within the siping itself. So it's going to provide additional edge effect. But it's going to increase the rigidity. So as these sipes open up, they are subject to chunking and tearing down the asphalt and the roadway. So providing that extra reinforcement is going to allow them to last longer and increase the longevity of the tire itself.
Excellent. So now that we've driven these cars back to back, the RAV4s that are behind me, one with Sailun tires, one with Firestone tires, what have we proven? Well, we've proven that Sailun can hold its own, and I think that's the point they wanted to make. When I spoke to them earlier, they didn't say that they wanted to choose a winner and a loser. They just wanted to say, hey, we make a quality tire that can keep up with major competition, but we can do it at a value price. And that was their point, and today, as we froze here, that point was well taken. Now, if you're still not sure whether winter tires are right for you, check out the video over here. And as always, thanks for watching.